Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Mark Lynn. Namaskar. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Prime Minister Narendra Modi arrives in Brazil for the 17th BRICS Leaders Summit and a state visit on the fourth leg of his five-nation tour of the Global South. Earlier, Prime Minister Modi held talks with President Javier Milei in Argentina. He highlighted India's strength in healthcare and pharmaceuticals. India and Argentina deepened their bilateral ties with a focus on boosting trade and cooperation in energy and critical minerals. And Elon Musk launches a new political party. He vows to restore freedom and challenge Trump's Republican Party in the 2026 midterm elections. In the fourth leg of his five-nation visit, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has reached Rio de Janeiro in Brazil after concluding his historic visit to Argentina. The Prime Minister will attend the 17th BRICS Summit 2025, followed by a state visit. This will be the Prime Minister's fourth visit to Brazil. The 17th BRICS Leaders Summit will be held in Rio de Janeiro. And during the summit, Prime Minister will exchange views on key global issues, including reform of global governance, peace and security, strengthening multilateralism, and also the responsible use of artificial intelligence, climate action, global health, economic and financial matters. The world's eyes are on Rio de Janeiro as the 17th BRICS Summit is all set to begin on Sunday, with the grouping expanding to 10 full members and crucial discussions on global governance, climate and development on the agenda. The stage is set for high-stakes diplomacy. Our correspondent Meghna Dev brings us this report from Rio de Janeiro.
The 17th BRICS Summit officially kicks off in Rio on July 6th. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is in Rio de Janeiro to attend the summit, marking India's strong commitment to the BRICS agenda. The summit is especially significant as India takes over the BRICS chair next year. This year, BRICS has expanded to 10 full member countries with 12 partner nations, 8 invited countries and 7 leaders of regional and multilateral organizations. The theme for this year's summit is strengthening Global South cooperation for inclusive and sustainable governance. Day 1 features high-stakes sessions beginning with a discussion on global governance reforms limited to full members only.
The program on the 6th includes the first agenda item, the reform of the global governance. And thereafter, there is the second item on the agenda, the peace and security, which is in the working lunch format.
On the 7th of July, the item of the agenda is environment, COP30 and global health. 4 major deliverables are expected to emerge from this summit. The first being the Leaders' Declaration, second, Statement on Global Governance and Artificial Intelligence, Framework on Climate Finance, and BRICS Partnership to Eliminate Socially Determined Diseases. Brazil's BRICS priorities aligns very closely to India's priorities for the BRICS, especially in terms of bringing to the fore the concerns of the Global South. Intense discussions have been going on the Sherpa and Sous-Sherpa level to build a consensus to pave way for a consensus on the BRICS outcome. And when we actually see that the world shifts focus to this summit, the consensus and the outcome will be able to pave way for a new global cooperation amongst the BRICS nations. With camera person Piyush Verma, this is Meghna Dev for DD India from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi is in Brazil and he will be participating in the BRICS Summit at Rio de Janeiro on the 6th and the 7th of July. And on the 8th of July, the Prime Minister will have a bilateral meeting with President Lula da Silva in Brasilia. From artists to chefs to business leaders to small children, the Indian community is looking forward to preparing for their meeting with Prime Minister Narendra Modi. In fact, DD India correspondent Shobhan Saxena reports from Sao Paulo.
The members of Indian community in Brazil are very excited and enthusiastic about the visit of Prime Minister Modi here on July 5th. The community is preparing hard to welcome the Prime Minister of India. Led by Kathak teacher Gyan Shikrahe, Indian ladies from 3 different cities are preparing a special dance for the PM's reception at Rio de Janeiro.
We are preparing a cultural program to welcome our PM and to homage our Indian Armed Force and PM sir. One girl, she's preparing very beautiful painting for to receive our PM, and of course cultural singing, dancing will be there.
At Brazil's best-known Indian restaurant, Chef Dipali Vaskar, who had served the PM during the G20 summit last year, is again working on a special menu for PM Modi.
It's been a great joy and a very privileged occasion for us to serve Mr. Modi, our Prime Minister of India. This will be the second time, and we'll be serving him a traditional menu as well as some local touches to some dishes considering his diet restrictions and his choices of food.
It's a great privilege and honor as an Indian restaurant which is going to take care of the meals and nutritional part of Mr. Modi in Rio de Janeiro. And being a member of Indian community, we are very excited for this event. Again, a lot of cultural activities are participated, a lot of enthusiasm among the Indian community and diaspora here to visit and greet and meet Mr. Modi. And this thing, I think, will be a memorable event that will be captured by every young, old and youth and the kids too.
I'm really excited. It's my first time seeing the Prime Minister. When I just came hearing this news, I was really happy. I'm also going to perform in the cultural performance.
Indian business community, mostly based in Sao Paulo, is gearing up to receive PM Modi in Rio de Janeiro and Brasilia this week.
Any head of the state visiting a country and then making a specific space and time to meet their community representatives is very symbolic and has a huge, I think, emotional connection, but also sends a symbolic message that we understand you, we are listening to your concerns, and we're going to address that concern.
A large number of members of Indian community are heading to Rio and Brasilia to welcome Prime Minister Modi, and they hope that his visit to BRICS summit and the bilateral meeting with President Lula will bring a new dimension to good relations between India and Brazil. This is Shobhan Saxena for DD India, Sao Paulo, Brazil.
An important business gathering is taking shape under the BRICS umbrella with a high-profile Indian business delegation in Brazil. They have agri-businesses, they have gems and jewelry, startups all there, looking for new business collaborations. DD India spoke to some of them on their expectations. Let's listen.
Joined in by all business people from India. Ma'am, thank you so much for talking to us, and we already have a delegation. What are the expectations? What are we talking about? What is the brainstorming that's going on?
It's really heartening to see that for the Brazilian business delegation and who we've been interacting with, and of course the government officials here are really interested in promoting Brazilian startups. So I think there's a great synergy between Indian startups, Indian investors, legacy companies here, and investors and the governments wanting to work on innovation, startups, and growing the whole startup ecosystem.
We're also, obviously, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be holding a bilateral with President Lula. What are the expectations of the Indian businessmen that you are expecting that will be one of the outcomes from the meeting?
We see a lot of opportunity because I see some diverse angles also here. Here the natural resources are in plenty. There is a scope for innovation is very high. What attracted me here is how do they use the biofuels Yeah, they are the leaders in that.
Tariff is 100% is there. That once it is reduced, certainly there is a lot of scope between two countries, and both will be winner. Only is that CBO, mean complete build-up unit, should be allowed to basically export here at a slightly cheaper rate.
Economically speaking, what are the expectations from the BRICS?
BRICS is doing a great job by getting people united out here and making people understand what are the opportunities in India, Brazil, what bilateral trade we guys can do together.
We want the primacy of the Indian business. His visit will spur that and will actually give a big fillip and encouragement to all of us to do more.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi is going to come here. There is going to be a lot of eyeballs that will be tuned to get to know what will be happening, what kind of discussions will be happening on the economic front. With camera person Piyush Verma, this is Meghna Dev for DD India from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil.
And DD India correspondent Meghna Dev also spoke to women from the Indian diaspora in Brazil. Let's listen.
There is palpable excitement in the Indian diaspora. We'll speak to a few of them to understand what are their preparations. Definitely there's a lot of excitement. What do you have to say?
The whole Indian community is very, very happy and excited. Last year we met him. It's like just in 6 months we are going to see him again, and we are really, really, really very happy.
I'm really excited. Everyone is excited that Prime Minister Narendra Modi is coming again. It's my first time meeting him. I'm so happy. I was excited, really excited. I was waiting for this day to come.
Everybody is so excited about Narendra Modi, sir. And we are all excited. We are coming again. This is my second time here. But still, everybody is coming to see Narendra Modi, the same passion how we have seen last time.
I would like to say that we support Modi ji, and Modi ji, you rock. Whatever you do, we are here, the Indian diaspora from Brazil. We are here to support you, and we stay strong with your leadership and the kind of guidance that you are giving us to our nation. And just thank you, and we are really grateful.
With camera person Piyush Verma, this is Meghna Dev for DD India from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil.
Now, earlier in Buenos Aires, the Prime Minister Narendra Modi, met with the President of Argentina, Javier Milei. This happened on Saturday. The Prime Minister was warmly received by President Milei when he had arrived at Casa Rosada, and they held extensive discussions. They reviewed the entire gamut of bilateral relations. The leaders took stock of the ongoing economic collaboration. Prime Minister thanked President Milei for the strong condemnation of the barbaric terrorist attack in Pahalgam. He appreciated Argentina's solidarity for India in its fight against terrorism. The two leaders agreed that terrorism poses a grave threat to humanity, and they reaffirmed their commitment to strengthen the global fight against this menace. The leaders agreed to continue working closely to strengthen the strategic partnership. They called for giving greater voice to the concerns of the global south. Prime Minister Narendra Modi also held delegation-level talks with President Javier Milei, who was leading the Argentinian delegation. The two leaders met in restricted and delegation-level formats. The leaders held extensive discussions and they reviewed the entire gamut of bilateral relations. They called for enhancing cooperation in the fields of critical minerals, oil and gas, defense, nuclear energy, agriculture, science and technology, the use of drones in agriculture, digital public infrastructure, UPI, space, railways, farmers, sports, and people-to-people ties, among other things. The leaders also took stock of the ongoing economic collaboration. Prime Minister Modi noted that while bilateral trade was on a stable trajectory, the two sides needed to work on the diversification of trade basket to harness the full potential of commercial engagement. Prime Minister Narendra Modi paid tribute to the San Martin Memorial in Buenos Aires on Saturday in Argentina. This was the third leg of his five-nation tour. The Monumento al General San Martin is an imposing equestrian monument. It honors Jose de San Martin, who's a revered liberator of Argentina, Chile, and Peru. Now, it stands as a symbol of Latin American independence. It's a significant site of national pride in Argentina. Prime Minister Modi, his visit there to the memorial underscores India's respect for global freedom fighters. Prime Minister Narendra Modi also paid floral tributes to Mahatma Gandhi in Buenos Aires. The Prime Minister also received the key to the city of Buenos Aires from Jorge Macri, who is the chief of the city government of Buenos Aires. Prime Minister Narendra Modi also interacted with the Indian community there. And Prime Minister Modi also paid tribute to Rabindranath Tagore in Buenos Aires. Now, it was in November of 1924 that Rabindranath Tagore had come to Argentina on his way to Peru. He was invited to attend the centenary celebrations of the Battle of Ayacucho, which helped Peru become free from Spanish rule. But when he reached Buenos Aires, in fact, he became sick. And it was a very long trip for him. He was very tired, and the trip was, a long trip around Europe. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi discussed potential opportunities for partnership in the energy sector with Argentina during his meeting with Argentinian President Javier Milei.
The Prime Minister underlined India's growing energy and industrial needs and emphasized that Argentina could serve as a reliable partner in supporting India's developmental journey. With the world's second largest shale gas and fourth largest shale oil reserves, along with substantial conventional oil and gas deposits, Argentina holds strong potential to become an important energy partner for India. Argentina's rich reserves of critical minerals, including lithium, copper, and rare earth elements, align with India's need for secure and sustainable resources to drive its clean energy transition and industrial growth.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi sought Argentina's support in expanding the India-Mercosur preferential trade agreement. The Prime Minister and the Argentinian President, they also expressed interest in enhancing collaboration in the defense sector.
The two leaders discussed the necessity of diversifying and expanding bilateral trade. The Prime Minister requested Argentina's support in expanding the India-Mercosur preferential trade agreement, noting that such an expansion can bring mutual benefits for both sides and open up new opportunities. Both leaders also expressed interest in enhancing collaboration in the defense sector, where they felt that they can leverage their respective experiences and capabilities to increase cooperation and contribute to mutual strategic interests.
Still to come here on DD India Live. The Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu says that Israel is sending a team for Gaza truce talks. And the flood in the U.S. state of Texas has claimed at least 32 lives, including 14 children.
We often think that water crises are natural disasters or triggered by them. But what if the truth is that we contribute heavily to this problem? Let's take a look how best can we navigate them.
We're kind of like doctors for lakes. For small, shallow, pond-like urban lakes, the Shefazay method is a good fit.
Of course, the poverty challenge that the children are facing, which is they could not overcome by themselves. It needs a real collaboration.
Initially, we have taken a pilot project of 1.5 kilometers from both the sides of this bridge. Initial work was only cleaning of all the dumped garbage. We have removed almost more than 1,000 trucks of garbage from this place.
You're watching DD India Live. I'm Mark Lin. Elon Musk, an ex-ally of President Donald Trump, says that he is launching a new political party weeks after a dramatic falling out with the US president. Now, the billionaire announced on his social media platform X that he had set up the America Party, and he's billed it as a challenge to the Republican and the Democratic two-party system. The announcement from Musk comes after President Donald Trump signed a tax cut and spending bill into law on Friday, which the billionaire chief executive officer of Tesla has fiercely opposed. Rescuers searched on Saturday for 27 girls missing from a riverside summer camp in the U.S. state of Texas after torrential rains caused devastating floods that killed at least 43 people, with more rain pounding the region. The sheriff's office in Kerr County in Texas said that more than 850 people had been evacuated from the region as floodwaters receded in the area around the Guadalupe River. And Texas Governor Greg Abbott said that he had asked President Trump to sign a disaster declaration which would unlock federal aid for those affected.
President Trump, he loves Texas for one. He's deeply concerned about all the families who've been affected, but also knows about the magnitude of the devastation that we're suffering. And so what I'm about to sign now is going to be the first step in a process. This document is a request for a federal disaster declaration coming from the governor to seek the immediate and ongoing help of the federal government.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said on Sunday that he will send a team to Qatar to talk about possible ceasefire and hostage deal in Gaza. However, he rejected the changes that Hamas made to the latest ceasefire proposal. Hamas had said on Friday that it was ready to begin talks right away on a ceasefire plan supported by the United States. The US President Donald Trump is pushing hard to end the war in Gaza, which has lasted nearly 21 months. Netanyahu is expected to visit Washington on Monday to meet with Trump. Trump has said that he plans to be firm with Netanyahu, hoping to build on a recent truce between Iran and Israel to also bring peace to Gaza. The Russia-Ukraine conflict remains deadlocked after a tense call between the United States and Russian presidents. Meanwhile, the Ukrainian President Zelensky and the US President Trump agreed to strengthen Kiev's air defenses amid the escalating situation. Both sides have launched strikes and they appear to be preparing for further confrontation as diplomatic efforts continue to stall.
The Russia-Ukraine conflict remains at a standstill after the recent phone call between the US and Russian presidents ended without a breakthrough. A day later, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said he discussed air defenses with US President Donald Trump.
We talk about sanctions a lot, yeah. What does he say? I would say he's not thrilled with it, but, you know, he's been able to handle sanctions, but these are pretty biting sanctions. Now, we talk about sanctions a lot. And he understands that it may be coming, and you know he's a professional.
Russia launched its largest drone and missile assault on Ukraine, prompting US President Donald Trump to suggest possible sanctions and criticize Russian President Vladimir Putin. The United Nations condemned the attacks and called for an immediate, full and unconditional ceasefire. While on Saturday, Ukraine's special forces struck Russia's Borisov-Glebsk military airfield in the Voronezh region, targeting a glide bomb storage and trainer aircraft. The base hosts enemy Su-34, Su-35S and Su-30SM aircraft. Meanwhile, despite its military actions, the Kremlin reiterated a preference for a diplomatic solution but vowed to continue its operation. On the other hand, US has scaled back some aid to Ukraine, raising concerns in Kiev. As both sides continue to intensify military actions and diplomatic efforts stall, the future of the conflict remains uncertain. Rabindra Chauhan's report for DD India.
The Rwandan President Paul Kagame, he has warned that he's warned the Democratic Republic of Congo against any tricks in implementing a US brokered peace deal, raising concerns that peace will remain elusive between the two neighbors. Let's look at this report for the details.
Just days after a US brokered peace deal, tensions have started emerging between Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of Congo. Rwandan President Paul Kagame warned that the deal could collapse if Congo failed to neutralize Hutu militiamen linked to the 1994 Rwandan genocide.
We reached an agreement in Washington, D.C., but it is not up to Washington to implement it. It's those who reach the agreement there to actually be the ones to implement what they agreed. You will never find Rwanda at fault with implementing what we have agreed to do. You'll never. But if the side we are working with plays tricks and takes us back to the problem, then we deal with the problem like you have been dealing with it.
Last month, the foreign ministers of Rwanda and the DRC signed the pact in Washington, D.C. in the presence of U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio. US President Donald Trump hailed the agreement, which aims to attract billions of dollars of Western investment to Eastern Congo, which is rich in minerals like copper, lithium, and gold. As per the deal, the two sides have pledged to implement a 2024 agreement that would see Rwandan troops withdraw from Eastern Congo within nearly 90 days. The two countries will also launch a regional economic integration framework within the same time frame. Rwanda has sent at least 7,000 soldiers to DR Congo. According to Congo and UN, the troops have been sent to support M23 rebels who seized Eastern Congo's two largest cities and lucrative mining areas in a lightning advance earlier this year. Rwanda has denied helping M23, saying its forces are acting in self-defense against Congo's army and Hutu militiamen. Meanwhile, Congo's government and M23 have said that they would send delegations back to Qatar for separate talks aimed at ending the conflict, which has claimed thousands of lives. Bureau Report, DD India.
Well, the latest World Bank data, it ranks India as the most equal country in the world in terms of income. And India's extreme poverty has dropped to 2.3%, placing it in the moderately low inequality category. India has surpassed the United States and China in this list. This report by Ragini Sudhir Chore brings us the insights.
India has achieved a remarkable milestone in its development journey, not just as the world's fourth largest economy, but now also as one with least economic inequalities. According to the latest World Bank data, India's Gini index stands at 25.5, placing it as the fourth most equal country in the world. India's score puts it far ahead of many advanced economies, including the United States, which stands at 41.8, and China, which has a Gini score of 35.7. Notably, India ranks as more equal than every G7 and G20 nation, placing it in the moderately low inequality category and just a fraction away from entering the low inequality group. It joins a select group of just 30 countries worldwide that have managed to achieve this level of economic equity, most of which are smaller or wealthier European nations. Over the past 10 years, 171 million Indians have been lifted out of extreme poverty. A key driver behind the transformation is a series of well-implemented government initiatives that combine digital technology with grassroots outreach. The key government initiatives are the Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, which has brought over 55 crore Indians into the formal banking system. Aadhaar, India's biometric digital ID system, now covers over 142 crore people and forms the foundation of welfare targeting. Direct benefit transfer system ensures subsidies and aid reach the intended recipients, cutting down leakages and saving over 3.48 lakh crore rupees. Ayushman Bharat scheme has revolutionized access by providing up to 5 lakh rupees in medical coverage to over 41 crore beneficiaries, supported by more than 32,000 hospitals. Ayushman Bharat Digital Mission and Ayushman Veer Vandana are further strengthening coverage, especially for senior citizens. Entrepreneurs from marginalized communities have schemes like Stand Up India that have provided over 62,000 crore rupees in loans, and the Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Ann Yojana has reached over 80 crore people with free food grains during times of need. India's Gini index of 25.5 is more than just a statistic, as it reflects a shift in the living realities of millions. More families today have access to nutritious food, banking, healthcare, and opportunities to earn and grow. India's success lies in its ability to pair economic reform with robust social protection. While other nations struggle to balance growth with equity, India has shown that inclusive development is not only possible but sustainable. Ragini Sudhir Chaure's report for DD India.
You're watching DD India Live. We're going to take a short break. Stay with us.
Can the US launch a bombing campaign against Iran? The Philippines vessel suffered structural damage. The saga of child sexual abuse is the United States China's debt trap strategy. Truth is stranger than fiction. But sometimes hard to uncover. Trust us to tell the truth, unadulterated and pure, of every story that matters to you. You read between the lines, cut the clutter, and connect the dots to get you the full picture. Watch Connecting the Dots at these times with me, only on DD India.
Goa, an adventure paradise like none other. From lush forests to rugged hills, from pristine ocean beach stretches to stunning lakes, there is something to explore in every corner of the state. And some adventures are wilder than others. Watch Postcards from Goa on National Geographic.
We often think that water crises are natural disasters or triggered by them. But what if the truth is that we contribute heavily to this problem? Let's take a look how best can we navigate them.
We're kind of like doctors for lakes. For small, shallow, pond-like urban lakes, the Shefazay method is a good fit.
Of course, the poverty challenge that the children are facing, which is they could not overcome by themselves. It needs various collaboration.
Initially, we have taken a pilot project of 1.5 kilometers from both the sides of this bridge. Initial work was only cleaning of all the dumped garbage. We have removed almost more than 1,000 trucks of garbage from this place.
Welcome back. And heightened security arrangements have been made in Rio de Janeiro ahead of the BRICS summit. Let's take a look at this report filed by Meghna Dev.
Massive security preparations ahead of the BRICS summit in Rio de Janeiro. The city has mobilized one of its largest security forces. We can say that one of the largest deployment that can be seen across the city of military and police personnel. Now, this is also to guard the summit venue, the key transit routes, as well as diplomatic delegations. Weeks ago, there had been a coordinated exercise of the forces in Rio de Janeiro to ensure that there is coordinated response and as well as protocols that can be coordinated properly about the security arrangements that have to take place during the summit. Besides that, this is not the first time that the city is seeing such heightened security. It has also happened, such a large-scale exercise has also happened during the G20 summit in Rio de Janeiro. What we also see is that security has been beefed up at important locations across the city, on the streets, at the Ipanema beach. We also see heightened security at the Copacabana beach and other important places. 24/7 surveillance can clearly be seen, as well as there has been such security deployment to ensure that there is quick response to any untoward incident. With camera person Piyush Verma, this is Meghna Dev for DD India from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil.
But search and rescue operations are underway in Texas as the fatal flash floods there have claimed the lives of at least 24 people, whereas Europe suffers from heat wave resulting in several forest fires.
South Central Texas is suffering from a devastating flash flood along the Guadalupe River, killing at least 24 people and leaving nearly 24 girls unaccounted for on Friday. As rescue operations are underway, U.S. National Weather Service has declared a flash flood emergency for parts of Kerr County. Expressing concern, U.S. President Donald Trump called the situation terrible and shocking.
It's terrible, the floods. It's shocking. We'll take care of it. We're working with the governor. It's a terrible thing.
Whereas in Russia, a rare and powerful summer storm struck St. Petersburg on Friday, injuring at least 5 people. As per weather experts, it could be the most severe July storm in the past 160 years. The Neva River surged to 1.8 meters, prompting the activation of the city's flood protection system. A prolonged heat wave sweeping across the eastern Mediterranean has fueled intense wildfires in Turkey, Greece and Syria. Wildfires in Turkey's Izmir province have spread to residential areas, resulting in at least 2 deaths and forcing over 50,000 people to evacuate. The fires, fueled by strong winds and record-breaking temperatures, have caused widespread destruction. Though firefighters have contained 9 out of 10 wildfires in the Izmir, Turkish authorities have arrested 10 suspects in connection with wildfires. Wildfires are also raging in Greece, particularly near Athens and on the island of Crete, prompting evacuation. Fueled by strong winds and dense vegetation, Greece is on high alert due to the wildfires. Temperatures are expected to rise over 40 degrees Celsius on Saturday, increasing the risk of wildfires. The Rafina wildfire, which threatened the port and Athens International Airport, has been brought under control, but firefighters remain on alert. Meanwhile, heat wave also hit Bulgaria as mercury soared up to 39 degrees Celsius in the southeast European country. As the world is reeling from extreme weather conditions, experts believe that the human-driven climate change is one of the primary causes leading to frequent and intense weather events, from droughts to heat waves and hailstorms. Bureau Report, DD India.
A red alert for heavy rainfall has been issued in 3 districts of the North Indian state of Himachal Pradesh, Mandi, Kangra and Sirmaur. This is for July 6 and 7. Now, in view of this, the Mandi district administration and the state government are making special preparations to prevent a repeat of last week's devastation. the Deputy Chief Minister Mukesh Agnihotri will stay at the Mandi district headquarters to ensure better administrative coordination in case of any adverse situation. The Public Works Minister Vikramaditya Singh is visiting Saranj, and the worst affected area that is. Now, Mandi's Member of Parliament Kangana Ranaut is also scheduled to arrive in Mandi by the evening. Air Force helicopters have been kept on standby. On the first Saturday of July every year, the world comes together to celebrate International Day of Cooperatives. And this year, it carries even more significance, marking the United Nations International Year of Cooperatives 2025 with the theme, Cooperatives Driving Inclusive and Sustainable Solutions for a Better World. India, with its deep-rooted cooperative traditions, is poised to take center stage in this global movement. Here's the report.
Celebrated globally since 1923 and officially recognized by the UN since 1995, Coops Day is a moment to acknowledge the impact of cooperatives across sectors, from agriculture and finance to health, education, energy, and retail. This year, the celebration aligns with two major global forums, the Second World Summit for Social Development and the UN High-Level Political Forum, both pushing the agenda of inclusive, sustainable growth. India's cooperative journey has received a fresh impetus under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
And we are going across now to Rio de Janeiro, where we are getting in visuals of the Prime Minister having arrived at his hotel, and he has been given a warm reception as always. This is on his arrival at the hotel in Rio de Janeiro. These visuals came in a short while ago, so this has happened in the recent past. And that was the visuals speaking for themselves as we saw Prime Minister Narendra Modi receiving a rousing welcome there at the hotel in Rio de Janeiro. The Prime Minister is there for the 17th BRICS summit, which begins today on the 6th of July and will conclude on the 7th of July. There will be a number of bilateral meetings also that the Prime Minister will be interacting with other leaders who have come for the BRICS summit. This will also take place today, and today is the opening of the plenary. It will begin, they will be discussing peace, security, reform. It will happen at around 7 p.m. Indian Standard Time. These are visuals also that continue to come in from Rio de Janeiro and the hotel. In fact, there are shots also with the Prime Minister having a presentation on Operation Sindoor. Presentation on Operation Sindoor also was presented before the Prime Minister at this reception, this welcome of the Prime Minister at the hotel in Rio de Janeiro. Touching there that the children and Indian diaspora presented a performance on Operation Sindoor, as it was titled. Well, that's all we have in this edition of DD India Live. Thank you for joining us. Let's know your thoughts as well on the news of the day. For those of you on the go, get the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. It's available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code and download it now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. My name is Mark Lin. From all of us here in Delhi, thank you very much for watching DD India Live. Namaskar.